Montana's best newscast, live in high definition. This is KNOE 8 News, your breaking news and weather authority.
Coming up, the president is in Baton Rouge, and so are we. We'll have a recap of today's visit. Plus, police in Shreveport are looking for two people in connection with a home invasion and an abduction. We've got details.
Right now, from your breaking news and weather authority, this is KNOE 8 News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Pete Souza. Those stories are straight ahead, but first, meteorologist Chase Bowman has your first check on the forecast.
So we're starting to see a few more clouds roll in, and that's going to keep our high temperature a little bit lower, but we're still going to reach the upper 50s, maybe even the lower 60s. So overall, a pretty clean-cut day. Now, you do see the showers down towards the south. We are expecting rain here in the next 24 hours or so, but temperature-wise, once again, in the upper 50s, could climb into the mid-60s, but once again, with that cloud cover moving in, is bound to keep our temperatures just a little bit lower. Now, once again, we have rain chances coming up. History's been made with hurricanes. And I'll have a good look at the river flooding forecast in about 15 minutes.
All right, we begin with team coverage this afternoon. Just hours ago, the president capped off his historic stop in Baton Rouge with an address at McKinley Senior High School. And that's where we find our Nicole Cross and Chris Brown. They start us off with a recap.
Hey, Pete. So Chris and I are here. We are at the McKinley High School gymnasium where President Obama has just wrapped up his town hall meeting. He talked about a number of issues that seem to resonate with a lot of his supporters here. A number of people we ran into who are from the Arkansas, from Grayville, from Monroe. We're going to talk more about that in our later newscast. We also ran into the president, actually the principal of McKinley High School. He said he was honored to be here to host this event and to make sure that it was safe and secure for everyone who came out to support President Obama. He talked about what he wanted to do in his final year.
Yeah, well, we heard a lot from the president hitting those themes that we thought he would. He talked a little about health care. He talked a lot about education. He talked a lot about criminal justice reform. It wasn't a hard-hitting crowd. They weren't hard-hitting questions. This was clearly a crowd that loved him. But before he left, he made sure to tell the people here that like the president, that voted for the president, to stay engaged with the democratic process. This was a way for him to speak to his base directly. We talked about him probably doing that last night. He did that today, and they heard him loud and clear.
They heard him loud and clear. Now, we're going to wrap up here. We're going to put some things together for you for the evening newscast and bring you those latest developments. Be sure to tune in at 5, 6, and 10 for the latest from the town hall meeting here in Baton Rouge. For Chris, myself, Nicole Cross, back to you, Pete.
All right, thanks, Chris and Nicole. Now, all new at noon, those opposed to the removal of 4 prominent Confederate monuments in New Orleans are getting their day in court. The 4 groups against the removal sued in December. This was shortly after the city council voted 6-1 to remove the monuments. Their effort to block the city's action is set for a hearing today. It's happening right now, and it's in U.S. District Court. Now, we will be sure to bring you the results as soon as we get them. The governor's movement to waive working requirements for thousands of people receiving food stamps has been approved by the Obama administration. Now, the Edwards administration was told yesterday about the approval. Former Governor Bobby Jindal allowed the waiver to expire last year. The work requirements were supposed to launch January 1st for adults ages 18 to 49 without children. Edwards was looking for a 1-year extension of the waiver. It's effective until the 1st of December. The 7 leading Republican presidential candidates square off tonight in South Carolina. This will be their 6th debate of the campaign season. The latest poll shows Ted Cruz ahead of Donald Trump and Marco Rubio in 3rd. The first votes in Iowa are a little more than just 2 weeks away. The search continues for 2 young children who were taken from their homes in Shreveport Tuesday night. Reports allege they were taken by their mother and her boyfriend. Now, authorities are now working to find 2-year-old Elijah Wong and 7-year-old Donnie Simmons. Police say 34-year-old Keith Rogers used a handgun to take the children by force. Rogers is also wanted as a suspect in the January robbery of a Bossier City bank.
Overall goal for every agency here is to find them, locate them, and apprehend those suspects as fast and safe as possible.
Police are working on getting information related to the vehicle the couple is driving. Talk about a date gone wrong. Houma police say a 3 a.m. meeting arranged through a dating website turned out to be a robbery setup. Police say the man set up got together with the woman pictured right here. She is 33-year-old Brandy Helms. It happened last Friday. The scam took place when they went to a room. When they got to the room, the man took off his clothes and Helms allegedly turned up the music. This was a signal for 2 other men to come into the room. When they came in, they reportedly threatened the victim, took his money, cell phone, and made him withdraw cash from an ATM. Now, all 3 suspects were arrested on Friday. Police say the victim was released without injury. Some positive changes coming to the Forsyth Boat Dock area. The city council approved a measure to allow the mayor to work with the contractor. Now, this is expected to lead to the building of a new boat dock. The Monroe Parks and Recreation Director says there's a big need for another entry point. This is because of the growing number of people going out on the water. It's expected to cost around $400,000, and it should be completed in the next year.
And this project has been needed for a long time. In that particular area, if you look at the Washita River was rated the 3rd most beautiful river in the whole country.
Watson says there are several other projects in the works out at Forsyth Park. Another one is the Riverside Hiking Trail Project. All right, coming up, there are 3 winning Powerball tickets out there. We will tell you where they were sold and who might have them. Plus, Chase Bowman is here with another lucky forecast for the Archimedes. But how far will it last? We'll tell
Pete Sousa and Chase Bullman.
We started the show with President Obama in Baton Rouge, and now to who is going to replace him. Hours before the latest Republican debate, Donald Trump is defending his strong campaign message. Major Garrett is at tonight's debate site in Charleston, South Carolina with more.
If we had a real president, not the president that made a speech last night where everybody fell asleep.
After taking heat from President Obama and Republican Governor Nikki Haley, Donald Trump defended his fiery rhetoric.
Nikki Haley, a very nice woman, she said, I'm an angry person. I hate what's happening to our country. I am angry. I'm very angry.
Haley stood her ground.
Nikki Haley is the establishment of the firewall in South Carolina, where the establishment's going to put the brakes on them.
Amid an avalanche of conservative criticism.
I understood that when I hit Republicans and Democrats, I was going to upset people. But they gave me the opportunity to say what I think, and that's what I did.
RNC Chairman Reince Priebus said Haley's words were an attack on divisive politics.
So I'd much rather have a little drama, and I know some intrigue and interest on our side, and then coalesce behind the nominee and have a lot of time to do it.
Chris Christie and John Kasich, battling to be the mainstream alternative to Trump, embraced Haley's message.
She did really well last night, and I thought put a good face on our party.
We need to be unifiers, and there's too much anger. And I think I agree with her.
Kasich is pulled ahead of Christie in New Hampshire and is now a serious contender for second.
Just keep plugging. I've been declared for dead more times than I guess than people that you read about in the newspaper, right?
Who are actually dead.
Yeah, who are actually dead.
All right, buckle up. We are now just 2 weeks out from the elections in Iowa, and we are just under 300 days till the general election. All right, here are the winning numbers: 4, 8, 19, 27, 34. And the Powerball is 10. Now, there are at least 3 winning tickets in the record $1.5 billion jackpot. The winning tickets were sold in Florida, Tennessee, and California. Danielle Nottingham is in Chino Hills, California, where one of the tickets was purchased.
Crowds of California residents descended onto this 7-Eleven store in Chino Hills late into the night, where at least one golden Powerball ticket was sold.
I live down the street. What are the odds? I could have won.
Those who didn't win still came to the store to celebrate, even congratulating this store clerk who admitted he has no idea who the winner is.
It's my pleasure. I'm very proud, and I'm really excited too.
The 7-Eleven clerk says this store sold thousands of dollars worth of tickets over the last few days as Powerball fever took over the country. Jackpot winning tickets were also sold in Florida and Tennessee, meaning the big payoff will at least be split 3 ways. California state lottery officials plan to head to the 7-Eleven in Chino Hills today, hoping that the state's winner comes forward. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Chino Hills, California.
Interesting footnote: an additional 12 tickets in California matched 5 numbers, but not the Powerball. Whew, tough luck. The 7-Eleven owner will pocket $1 million for selling the winning ticket. Waking up in the morning and you say, I got all 5 numbers, but I didn't get the Powerball. That's tough, but they do get a payout.
Exactly. Get something out of it.
They better.
Instead of unfortunately, all the other people who've lost who knows how much money on these Powerball numbers. But I'll tell you, the weather this week, I would say we hit the jackpot with that.
We have. Yesterday afternoon and the day before that, absolutely beautiful. And look, today looks pretty darn good.
It's just about a carbon copy of yesterday into today, except a few more clouds. You can see them on the Creed and Creed tower cam, but overall still a pleasant day. We're rising in temperature to a very comfortable setting. But before we get there, a little bit of history in the making, so to speak. Hurricane Alex, the first hurricane to form in January since 1938, but the first one to occur since 1955. This is a Category 1 right now, just off the coast of Africa. It's going to move the north-northeasterly trend all the way up to Greenland. Excuse me. Now, nothing to worry about for us, just very interesting. That's what El Nino can do to our weather pattern, just create a few little instances of just a little bit of interesting. Now, one thing El Nino has had an impact on is the wet winter and late fall that we've had, putting a lot of rain down, not currently along the river, but it has created some flooding issues. But the good news with that, most of the forecasts are dropping, and actually some of the river levels are beginning to drop. Now, this is a graph out of Arkansas City, right near Greenville, Mississippi. You can see it plateauing right at about 43.32 feet. Then it crests beginning to drop to 43.2 feet. So a very small drop, but it is a drop indeed, and we are soon going to get out of the moderate stage of the flood risk. Now, getting down to Vicksburg, rivers actually closed to barge traffic. They've had several barges crash into the rail bridge, so the Coast Guard has shut down traffic along the Mississippi River through Vicksburg. But the good news is, as it has begun to climb into the major flood stage, plateauing, and then towards the end, it will start to dive and beginning to drop. Now, it's still about 3 weeks of flooding that lower areas around Vicksburg are having to deal with. But we are looking, once again, at a little bit of rainfall, but it should not affect the river too much. Now, again, to the water vapor, kind of paints the picture quite well. You see a subtle low starting to spin up over Texas, with a very active subtropical jet really putting in the moisture. And as we start to get a south wind, we're starting to see a little more moisture start to pop up. That is the reason we have all this cloud cover. This is all from that moisture that the jet is starting to push into our area. A lot of cloud cover. And down towards the south, this thicker white area, this is a lot of showers that are coming down. Some of them could have a couple rumbles of thunder with it, but when it reaches us, nothing to truly worry about. Temperature-wise, pretty mild all across the southeast. You see upper 50s, lower 60s. We get a little closer to home. Everyone's starting to finally climb. Ruston at 60, Monroe at 58, El Dorado at 58, even Shreveport right at 61. All because of the winds coming out of the south. Pretty decent pace, but nothing too gusty, right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And the dew point slowly starting to climb. Not a whole lot of moisture, but enough to give us some light showers. Now the radar staying very clear. Once again, nothing to truly worry about. When we get into futurecast, see a lot of cloud cover moving in. When we get to this afternoon, you can see a few showers popping up tonight, right around 9 p.m. on Thursday, or later today. Then we get to Friday morning. See, it's really starting to put up some showers that are going to move in an eastward trend, but clearing behind it. This could be a beautiful day. The rest of the week could have a little bit of a rainy Friday morning, a little cloudy at times, but otherwise, nothing to truly worry about. Now, when we get into the 7-day, pretty good week, I would say. Once again, just one little chance of rain before we hit another cool down, and this one looks to last a few days longer. We're looking at 5, 6, maybe even 7 days of temperatures below 50, a couple mornings below freezing.
All right, Chase, thank you so much. All right, the lottery winners, well, they're still out there, and we don't know who they are. But the Oscar nominations, they are in. The Oscar goes to, well, we'll tell you who's up for them coming up next. Khloe Kardashian's plane en route to New York from Los Angeles made an emergency landing yesterday morning. The reason? An electrical problem. But eventually she chartered another one and made it to New York. While in the city doing promotion for her new show, she dropped in a chat with Howard Stern. One of the more illuminating discoveries that came from the interview, she was making all the decisions for former NBA star Lamar Odom. This following his highly publicized drug overdose at a Las Vegas brothel in October. Now, along with her disclosure about overseeing all of his medical decisions, Kardashian also shared that Odom, who was in a coma after the overdose, is still foggy about exactly what happened.
I have to remember, he has no idea what people know. He doesn't know if we only found him and this is private. Like, he doesn't know.
He hasn't seen any TV reports, anything.
No, I've kept things very, because I want...
No kidding.
Kardashian also told Stern that Odom is finally recovering and is about at 70%. Now, she credits his athleticism with saving his life. Lots of attention focused on The Revenant and Mad Max Fury Road. The nominations for the 2016 Academy Awards were announced this morning. Jeremy Roth takes a look.
Performance by an actor.
Could this be the year Leonardo DiCaprio walks away with an Oscar?
Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant.
His movie The Revenant got 12 nominations this morning, including a Best Actor nod. DiCaprio has yet to win an Oscar despite 4 other nominations.
I want them back! They're my property!
Mad Max Fury Road is up for 10 Oscars, including Best Director, Production Design, and Best Picture. Speaking of Best Picture, the nominees in that category also include The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, The Revenant, Room, Spotlight, and The Martian. The star of that movie, Matt Damon, is up for Best Actor, his 4th nomination. Aside from DiCaprio, he's up against Bryan Cranston, Michael Fassbender, and Eddie Redmayne in that category. The film Carol got nominations for both Best Actress, Cate Blanchett, and Best Supporting Actress, Rooney Mara. Jennifer Lawrence is up for her 4th Best Actress nomination. She won it in 2013. In addition to Cate Blanchett, she's up against Brie Larson, Charlotte Rampling, and Saoirse Ronan.
The Force. It's calling to you.
One of the biggest movies in history came away with 5 nominations. Star Wars The Force Awakens is nominated for Best Editing, Sound, Visual Effects, and that classic John Williams score. You can see who will take home an Oscar when Chris Rock hosts the 88th Annual Academy Awards on Sunday, February 28th.